I've got my screen though, so let's do some calculations, eh? Oh man. I'll just send you both videos so you can just upload both of them and then have part 1 and part 2.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so for the calculations, it says it took Exhibit 3. I think we'd take 7,400 divided by 185.4, don't we?
Yeah. So then I'll do 1988 if you want.
All right, I'll do 89.
Okay, so now what do I need to do?
Okay.
I did 89. Maybe I'll start with 91 and then we can just work together or something. I'll start backwards.
Okay, I'm working on 99 right now.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
What was 1989?
1989 was 36.6.
Okay. Did you start with August or January through August?
The very one on the right, August.
Okay.
Oh, the teacher posted an announcement.
Yeah?
Yeah, about the group meeting tonight.
Oh, that's not tonight.
Not tonight, Thursday.
Okay. I was like, wait, what? No, it's not March 1st. Oh, that scared me.
Okay, so she gave us the ID number, which is good. Okay.
How many of those have we had? Because I've only been to the very first one.
I've only had like 3 or 4, I think.
I hope they're not mandatory because I haven't been to any of them yet.
I don't think they are.
I think you're just supposed to watch it. If you can't attend them, you're supposed to watch them afterward.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think we've got most of them here. So the question was if safety decreased productivity, and the lower the number, the higher the productivity, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know if I have this right, but let's see. So in 1987, it was 39.9 hours per ton. In 1988, it was 37.2 hours per ton. In 1989, it was 36.6. In 1990, it was 35.73. And in January through August of 1991, it was 33.7. So both numbers are going down, both safety and the other one. So that means that the higher the safety standard, the more productive it is, correct?
I think so. Yeah, because it says the smaller the number, the more productive the plan is.
Right.
I really wish my computer would let me do three screens.
Then that's good. What?
I said I really wish my computer would let me do 3 screens because I can only see you guys and the other thing and the exhibit right now.
Oh.
Okay, do you want me to read off the second bullet point then?
Sure.
It says compare these numbers with the average safety incidents in Exhibit 7. I guess we already did that. The lower number of safety incidents are better if both. We already did that, didn't we?
I think so. Oh yeah, so the total works average. Yeah, so both numbers are going down, both times. Except for both numbers are going down. So that's good. So that means that if you increase safety measures, then productivity goes up, which makes sense because if people are being safe, then they're spending less time like either at the doctor's or filling out paperwork or being hurt, and every time somebody gets hurt, it requires like 3 or 4 other people to make sure that they're okay and get them out and kind of deal with this whole situation. So it makes sense that as safety goes up, so does productivity, because then there are less disruptions to the workday.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay, I'm trying to write this in. I can't write it in while looking at the exhibit while also looking at, yeah. So
Right.
I can only do so many screens at once.
No, I get that. Do you need the numbers again? I don't know if you need to report those or not.
No, I have the yeah, I don't have the numbers. What are the numbers?
Okay. So for 1987, it gives us that one of 39.9. In 1988, it was 37.2.
And that's hour. What is that? What that number is that? That's the hours per ton.
Hours per ton. Hours per ton.
Okay.
And then in 1989, it was 36.6. In 1990, it was 35.7. And then the January, August of 1991 is 33.8.
Sorry, what number?
33.8.
Okay.
And then I don't have the last 2 numbers. Do you have those?
Yeah, I do. July of 91, it was 31.97.
31.7.
0.97.
0.97.
So probably around to 32 if you wanted. And then August of 91 was 34.
34?
Yeah, it was 34.02, I think.
And we said the smaller number, the better, or?
Yeah, so if they're both going down, that's a good thing. If either of them rise, that's a bad thing.
Oh, that's true. It did go up. Let me make sure I did that right.
Well, here's the thing, though. That just means that July was a really low month, but it's still generally going down from by year. By year, it's still going down, whereas by month, it had a small, a small increase, but it's still lower than the yearly average from before. And the January through August of 1991 includes the July and the August of 1991, so it's like an average. And so the 34.0 is just about that average for the year, which is still lower than all the other years.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I got most of that, but I think I'm just going to rewatch this video after because I'm not catching everything going on.
That's totally fine.
Okay, so next one then.
Yep.
Okay, look at Exhibit 5 and figure out which injury numbers are improving, going down, and which are going up. And categorize the types of injuries that are improving compared with the types that are not. What? Sorry.
Exhibit 5.
Most of the contributing conditions are going down, like all of them. They have like 1 year in 1989 where they kind of spiked back up a little bit, but not very much. And that's the same with the contributing action. Like, they're all going down.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says compare the types that are improving, which is with what is not. So you said they're all improving?
It looks like it. Do you see something different, Nick?
No, they're all going down, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to be prepared to explain the findings, or we have to be prepared to explain the findings. The team. Which is us?
Well, if you start in 1987, like take congestion, for example, it's 110, whereas, and then it just keeps going down and down and down and down until July. It goes right back. It goes like up 1 in August, but that's a month by month thing rather than a year by year thing. So again, the scale is a little bit different, but like it's still way down from the 110 and the 86 and the 58. So while it has a slight increase, it's still a general trend down. That makes sense. And that's how it is with all of them.
Okay. I wrote that in.
Okay.
So many questions. Okay, group number 3. Look at Exhibit 6 and go through the list of sample injuries. Look for common themes and causes. What can you learn about safety at Mission Valley from this list?
I kind of read through those earlier, and I think it's kind of lack of lack of care, maybe lack of
attention.
Yeah. What did you say?
Attention.
Yeah. Because a lot of it's just kind of stupid, careless, didn't really pay attention, mistakes.
Like the one who reached over, got second-degree burns.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that covers the whole be prepared to explain your findings?
Sorry.
What?
Just read this one. Mixing with mortar mixer. Beating on top with crowbar. Missed top of mixer and crowbar went down and hit blade, which kicked crowbar, hitting side of face. Like, I'm just imagining this worker like hitting the top of the thing with his crowbar and then just missing. Just like stupid things like that. Like, one of the things that I've noticed a lot though, is like one of them, several of them have to do with like cleanliness of the plant. So like one of them was cleaning chips and slipped on the chips. One of them was let me see. There was grease and water on the floor, and so they slipped. Another one was he stepped onto the pot and stepped on a small chunk, causing him to fall backwards. So like a lot of them, several of them I feel have to do with like the cleanliness of the plant and the fact that there's just stuff lying around on the floor that people slip on. And so I think that taking, and it is a dirty factory. I mean, it's a factory where they're making metal. Like, it's going to be kind of dirty, but maybe having some like cleanliness standards will help with the safety because there's less to slip on. And just kind of having like a standard of operations. Like when you're mixing with mortar mixer, don't beat on the top with crowbar. Like, have some kind of a tool, some kind of standard of completion for that so that you're not trying to, I don't know, that just sounds like something dangerous,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So for group 1, it says to ask, are we surprised by our findings?
That was with the safety and the productivity.
I was at first until Mary kind of explained that when you have safety, then you don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to take the days off. It may seem, I think it kind of seems like, oh, you have to drive slower in the machine, or you have to take this precaution. I think it may seem like it's being slower, but in the long run, it's increased the productivity. So there's kind of the evidence that proves it.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same, because at first I was like, well, they have to like take the time to take all the precautions, but I don't know, once I thought about it as like distractions from like a whole bunch of the team, because most of the team would have to stop. Well, they don't have to, but they probably would. I mean, if somebody gets injured, like the whole team stops and goes and gathers around, and tries to figure it all out. So
yeah. Okay. Do you think that we already answered this. We think the productivity will go up with increased safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think productivity actually goes up? Because less accidents.
Yeah. Less distractions.
That's easy. Okay. Okay, for group 2 and 3, so the other two ones. Okay, so which type of problem do you think is easiest to solve? The ones that are expensive or the ones that involve people's behavior? Why?
The ones that are expensive?
I don't know what that means.
So like the ones you can solve with money, like putting up guardrails or things like that, or the ones that change people's behavior?
That's probably makes sense, yeah. Probably behavior, because it's harder to change people's behavior.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said which one would be easier to change. I was like, behavior? No,
okay, I said that wrong, baby.
Yeah, because you can always shell out money. I mean, it's just money. Like, yeah, it's painful, but it takes a lot less time than trying to get people. And it said all the resistance that they got from changing things. I mean, you had people who were like, I don't want to drive 4 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So,
what challenges are Mission Valley up against?
What challenges? I think that's kind of goes along with changing people's attitudes, the expense that just kind of what we've already been talking about. Expense that comes with it, the time involved in setting up those precautions, training the people, maybe making safety policies, if that's what it's asking, the challenges.
Yeah, that works.
I think changing the culture, because like a lot of the culture it was talking about was like this, I don't want to look like I'm a wimp by asking for safety precautions kind of a thing. And like I'm a cool person, if I climb up on this ladder and do this thing while being dangerous, like that whole I want to be tough. I think that's a huge culture thing that they have to go up against. And I think also with the culture of the supervisors and just wanting to get things done as fast as possible, safety or no safety kind of a thing.
Okay. What has Mission Valley done in the past to improve its safety record so much that they have so few serious injuries compared with other similar companies?
Well, I like that they've set up like the 8-step process of, so they have a way to report and fix issues. They also have a way to find out, like, if an injury does occur, they have a way to find out why and how to fix it. They've spent money putting up taking safety measures, training their team, making a committee, all of that. Yeah.
Is that that circle diagram there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That process.
I don't know where I went. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it's because of that diagram and that process that they have, that they're safety. At least one of the main contributors for it.
Yeah. Well, and they've taken, they sit there and they try to figure out why, what's not safe. I also really like that it talked about, nope, that was a different class.
Okay. Okay. We already talked about what the specific things they've done that are successful. So the 8-step process. Will doing more of these things help them move the rest of the way toward their goal?
I think so. I think that if they increase their training, increase their safety precautions, increase their standardized operations, I think they really do need to get down to the culture of the place, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are the challenges for the future?
I'm gonna let you take this one, Nick.
Yep.
I think one of the big challenges would start off with firing Super Nick or whatever that guy's name was.
Step and kick.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge for him. And kind of just maintaining the safety, because I know after a while, after something's in act for so long, that maybe people lose care or maybe lose the importance idea of following it. So I think just maintaining the safety guidelines and maintaining awareness so people don't start dinking around and then getting hurt.
Yeah, I like that you. Sorry, I'm coming in anyway. I think one of the biggest challenges is most of the workers have worked there for 15 plus years, and they're generational. So it's generational habits, and like we saw this on my mission. When I got in, the whole generation before me had been pretty disobedient. And I remember partway through my mission, like my mission president came in, and he'd gotten there about a year before me, maybe 6 months before me, and he had really tried to turn things around and turn around the obedience issue. But it was really hard because it was a whole culture of the mission. All of the trainers had been in the disobedient group, and so it was only after our last group of them went away that they had this whole big conference, this mission conference, where we got together and we had our mission of the Great California San Fernando Mission 2.0. That was our new initiative, and it was all centered on obedience and things like that. But it's really hard when you have people who have been so long who aren't following the safety precautions, to try to get new people to come in and be trained. The people who are training them are going to do it by the way that they have been doing it for the last 15 years, whether there are new safety initiatives or not.
Yeah,
I don't know. I almost think that you have to get in with those who have been there for a long time and really work to help them change their habits in safety, because otherwise new trainees are just going to come in and have bad habits too, especially if their family has been working there as well. I think it's a whole big culture thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with that.
Okay. So there's another set of questions that I'm going through and analyzing which ones we don't do and don't need to answer.
Good choice.
So we kind of already talked a lot about all of these, but okay. So one question I'm supposed to ask is, do you guys always follow safety procedures like wearing seatbelts, avoiding texting while driving, or dangerous places, cross at crosswalks, ladders instead of a chair, driving the speed limit, etc.?
I don't.
Other than driving the speed limit, I usually do.
Hey,
I usually go about 5 miles over the speed limit.
Yeah.
I know.
Congrats on your mission.
Thanks.
And everything. I'm so excited for you.
I saw you at the library the other day,
Oh, you did?
but I didn't get to say hi.
Oh, darn it. Well, so remind me, when are you leaving?
June 13th.
June. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Are you in that class?
Yeah.
I have a quick
Oh, cool.
question. You're talking to her.
Yeah.
With our group leader assignment, we're just supposed to upload, like if we were supposed to make a policy or paper, we're not supposed to upload these questions and answers, are we?
No, it's fine.
I don't think so. I think it's
Okay.
just a write-up and then the video.
I didn't.
Okay, because I didn't upload. I have the questions and answers saved, but I didn't upload those.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay, you didn't upload the questions and answers, did you?
No.
Okay, all right.
Hi, I'm back. That totally threw me off.
No, you're fine. I get that.
She's a girl who served a mission in Edmonton.
Oh, cool. And that's where you're going, right?
No, that's where my parents are serving the mission presidents.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, okay. So the answer is no. Hey. Are you off to home now? Cool. Cool. I saw Sister Arnold. She's in your class.
Yes, she is.
She knows too many people in school.
Yeah. Sounds good. Hi. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so when I asked the questions about the safety thingies, Nick said no. If not, why? What would get them to change? What would get you to change your mind or behavior?
I think maybe seeing the injuries that come from it, seeing the dangers that really come from not following safety procedures would be a big thing to make people change, or even to make me change.
Yeah, I am not super good at following all of these. Actually, I have a funny story to tell you guys. So in regards to crossing at a crosswalk, in Hampton, where I grew up, it's a small town and there's not a lot of crosswalks. And so people cross anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. And like when we leave our house, we cross the street and there's obviously no crosswalk. So we cross the street onto the sidewalk. And one time my brother and I, we were walking our bikes across the street and there was no crosswalk, but the crosswalk was on the other side of the parking lot. And so we didn't want to backtrack to go where we were already going. And so we started to cross the street, but we waited for the car on the side to stop and the car on the side to stop. And they stopped. But as we're crossing, there was a big bang. The car behind that car stopped, but the third car didn't stop. And hit that car and then hit the other car. And it was a big disaster. And my brother and I were just like sat there hiding in the bushes, like watching the entire thing. And we don't even remember, like, we don't even know what happened. Like someone came over and talked to us and we were like freaking out because we're like, we caused this accident. And someone came over and he knew our dad because everyone knows us. And he's like, oh no, it's not your fault. Like, you're fine. But I just remember seeing like a lady get out, a car seat came out and sat on the side of the road. I don't really understand what was going on. I did not see a child at all that I can recall. I'm really confused. Anyway, so yeah. That happened.
I'm guessing you always cross at crosswalks now, eh?
Yes, for the most part.
Okay.
Because in Hampton, it's hard to cross at crosswalks because there's so very few of them. You have to cross the road at some point. Right.
Well, and that's the same. Like I cross at crosswalks everywhere except for at this. I mean, now I drive, but when I was younger, I'd always cross the crosswalks except for when I was going like to the pool because my house was on the corner of the street that went down to the busy street. And you had a crosswalk half a mile this way, and you had a crosswalk half a mile this way. But the place we wanted to go was like literally right across the street. So I was going to walk half a mile down, across the street, half a mile back. So we were just, and it was like, it's a road where, like, it's fast. It's a 40-mile-per-hour road, so people aren't going to stop for you. But there are big enough gaps that you can, you know, cross fairly quickly. And so I would always cross there. But, I mean, I drive now, and so I don't really do that. But, like, whatever, where I usually follow crosswalks.
Keep going.
The AT&T commercials for texting and driving, those have been a really big reminder to me, just because it always shows like some kind of a video or a text from like a family member or something like that, and then it'll like zoom out. It's like, and then like the person was in a crash and died, and it was like the last text they got. And that's always really poignant to me, because every time I'm about to like look at my text message while I'm on the road, I'm like, oh, do I really want this to be the last text message I see? Like, is it really that? You know, the picture of my son that my husband just sent me, like, I don't want that to be the last. I don't want to like die because I was looking at my phone. You know, that seems kind of counterintuitive to me. So those have been a really big.
I think that's a good thing to keep people off their phones and keep that stuff more safe.
Yeah, basically, like you said, like showing the consequences of what happens if you don't.
I was coming back here today, and someone was on their phone, rear-ended someone else on Main Street.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
I have another situation. I remember I was here in Rexburg like 5 years ago, and me and an 8-year-old, we were walking down towards Walmart, and like we were at the Walgreens area, and we wanted to. I don't even remember what we were doing. Oh, I think we wanted to like go to the Walgreens, but we didn't want to walk down to the crosswalk and then backtrack to Walgreens.
Right.
So I'm just like, nope, we're just going to cross the street because I'm from Hampton and that's what we do. And so we got to the yellow line in the middle of the road, and literally no cars would stop for us. And we were standing in the middle of the road without any little like thing to step up on, waiting for cars to not drive because they would not stop for us.
Yep.
And we finally ended up literally waiting until there was no cars because no one stopped. And I'm with an 8-year-old, and I was like 16 at the time.
Welcome to Idaho.
I was like, Sophie, please do not tell your mother about this.
Yeah, that's scary.
But yeah, I keep thinking like we stood there for like 10 minutes. I don't really know how long we were there. It was a really, really long time.
That's really funny because I used to do that on that street I was telling you about, but that was just like what you did. You just like run to the middle of the road, wait till the other side is clear, and then run the rest of the way, and that's like how we crossed the road. So that's really funny that you were like, why isn't anybody stopping for us? And I was always like, yeah, nobody's gonna stop for us, but we'll just like run while we can and then run the rest of the way.
Yeah, and Hampton people stop for you. People are nice.
Yeah. Here, everybody's like, why don't you use the crosswalk?
Yeah,
and then they still get mad when you're on the crosswalk.
I know. That's because up by BYU, Idaho, there are like 12 million crosswalks.
Man, it is bad up there. If you're late for class in the morning at all, you get stuck at those forever.
I know. I like avoid driving down. What is it? Is that Second? The street where like the Heart Gym is. We have those crosswalks.
That's where I live.
I like don't drive down by like Carriage House and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't drive down that road if at all possible. I will go all the way around campus to avoid driving on that road because it's impossible to get past that intersection.
Yeah, I live down by there. It's way past the tennis courts. That's where I live. And like that section's like insane because each car has to stop on all three sides. And so cars pile up so fast, especially after devotional. Like it's insane.
I used to live I lived at Birch Plaza, like right there by Carriage House.
Right.
And it's such a mess. Anyway, we can keep going, but
okay. Let's hope that teacher's not gonna watch this because we are live and going off on tangents.
Let's go.
I'm finding people to talk to and Okay. So now we're going to move the discussion toward Linda's plan for 1992. Ask the team to go through each item on the list and talk about each item, which is Exhibit 11.
Okay. The plan.
We only have 10 questions left, you guys. We can do it.
1, monitor complete implementations of recommendations on falls. So that includes establish reporting procedures and provide detailed tracking and report.
Yeah, so the first question is, which ones will help get the company to its goal?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And which ones won't help?
Where is this Linda's plan
Exhibit
at?
11. Exhibit 11.
Okay, sorry, I probably wasn't listening.
It's on page 21.
No, that's fine.
I think it's interesting because I think most of them will help them. I think that by monitoring complete implementation of I think step 1 will help because it's part of their 8-step process in reducing falls, which is their big one right now. I think the training for all supervisors and lead operators, I think that'll help because it helps improve the culture. If the lead operators and supervisors are more aware of it and on top of it, then other people will be too. I think the bi-weekly newsletter on safety, maybe not bi-weekly, maybe like weekly, but just like, I think that'll help because it'll just keep safety on people's minds so that they don't forget about it. And establishing like a safety recognition program that gives incentive to people for following safety regulations. And I think the meeting with superintendents, I think they're all really helpful. I think the only one that I would question would probably be improving the safety committee operations, just because, like it said, like there are a lot of pressure from peers, and they're more likely to give in to peers rather than just because they work with them from day to day. So I think that one might not help as much, but I think all the rest of them will help them toward their goal a lot.
Cool. Okay. Now, what is missing from the list?
What is missing?
What are things that we should add, I guess?
I was gonna say maintaining that safety precaution, but I guess that kind of falls underneath meet with superintendents on a monthly basis to review safety performance. What is missing? I'm not sure. I can't think of anything that.
That's okay. We can skip that question if we don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't think of anything that would just that they didn't cover.
Yeah.
Okay, so we probably already covered this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Wait, I actually have one thing that they could add.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Creating some kind of an established disciplinary action for supervisors who send their because they're concerned about, like, they were planning on firing what's his face, but like having some kind of a written disciplinary plan that's in the handbook, that's in the policy handbook, so that everybody's aware, like, if you send somebody into an unsafe condition without taking precautions, this is what's going to happen to you the first time, this is what's going to happen to you the second time, this is what's going to happen to you the third time, just so that it's an established thing, and then they can go back to it and say, no, look, you knew about this. Like, this has been in your employee handbook the whole time. This has been in our operating handbook the whole time. And so they have some basis if they're gonna fire somebody over it. And I think that will also let supervisors and workers know, like, if workers fail to report unsafe conditions and they just keep going anyway, like, what'll happen the first time you fail to report it and get hurt? What'll happen the second time you fail to report it and get hurt? You know, kind of a thing.
Right.
Like some kind of a reporting process. I don't know.
No, that is true. They didn't have that in there.
Okay. Ask your team to brainstorm ideas for how to change culture and attitudes about safety at Mission Valley. Some suggestions to help with the brainstorming is you could ask whether the fact that almost everyone in the whole town works at Mission Valley creates any opportunities. Are there ways to involve the community and families?
Well, if everybody at the town works there, then maybe making safety a whole town, like maybe meeting with the town board of directors or whatever, the city hall area, and making safety a town environmental thing. So you try to increase number of seatbelts, you try to, increase warn and increase, and make it kind of a whole community awareness on safety, not just in the plant. Maybe that might help.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, putting in headphones.
That's fine. Okay. We are on the final wrap-up questions. My brain is so dead.
It's been a long meeting.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you learn from talking about this case that would apply to future workplaces?
I think the overall factor of safety, really. The precautions, the importance of having safety from the start of the business, kind of training your employees the way that they need to act so they don't get set in that culture that makes it harder for them to be trained further down the road.
I think remembering that safety increases productivity.
That's true. That's a good one, too.
Important to remember.
Before this, I would have thought that safety would have made productivity go down, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now we're done. So ask each team member to rate the overall quality of today's discussion from 0 to 10.
I would say 10. I thought it was a really in-depth discussion.
Yeah, I agree. It was good.
Except for the little technical issues on my side.
Well, I do not think I was at a 10, but okay. I was so distracted. Okay.
No, it was good.
Ask what I did as a discussion leader that you liked. What could I do better next time?
I liked that you sent us the questions that were kind of longer and more intricate so that we had those in front of us so that we could
Yeah, and I like how you
do that better.
No, sorry, this is pausing out and I can't. Sorry, I didn't know you're still talking.
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
I liked how you already had went through the questions and kind of knew what to expect from the questions and kind of the answers that went along with them, so you could be prepared to help answer those.
Well, I did not answer very many questions. I let you guys do all the answering.
That's okay, but you went through and looked ahead so that you didn't have to repeat a lot of questions, or you kind of decided which ones were the best ones to discuss.
Yeah, I did that on a whim because
That was good. I liked it. I think the only thing that I would have you improve is just try to be less distracted.
Yeah.
Talking to people in the hall is hard when they come up to you, but
Yeah.
something I could do to improve is not drop my computer on the floor.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's hard sitting in a room full of people and noise and people I don't know and all of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I totally did not expect to see one of the people that I saw.
Yeah.
And it threw me off. Okay. Awesome. We are done.
Woo! Okay. I will stop this broadcast and then I'll send you the links.
Okay.
So that you can upload them.
Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you.